Hello, this is Don Victor, author of Drawn to Win, host of the podcast Drawn to Win, the director of the Academy of Composition, and the creator of the Core 80 Experience, also known as the See and Grow Rich in Art video course, which you can find out more information at core80.com. This is the Drawn to Win podcast, where I have the incredible privilege to draw artists from around the world into fun and meaningful conversations around art and life, and yes, maybe even a little food. You can hear us each week on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So make sure you subscribe so you always have a seat among friends. Let's get into the show. Holy Spirit, we welcome you into this beautiful conversation, and I have a sense it's going to be fun. Just a fun conversation. And so, Ingrid, I welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here talking.
So you have this accent, and so I have to ask, where is this wonderful sound coming from?
It's coming from Norway.
Oh,
actually. Yes, and I also I lived abroad for 10 years and London for 5 years, so I probably maybe got a bit of the British accent there as well. So it's not completely Norwegian type of accent that the typical Norwegian person would have. I say so. It's a bit of a mixture, I think.
Has anyone ever said you sound South African?
Yes, I hear it. I heard it so many times.
Really?
Yes, especially when I was in London, I always heard South Africa. Yeah, so I don't know. I never heard a South African speak, so
they sound like
I don't really know. Yeah, really? Okay.
So maybe that's a Norwegian London mixture there. Maybe it's the combination of the two that make you sound very, very South African.
And as well, I think when I lived in Florence for a little while, teaching at one of the art academies there, and a lot of them were Americans as well. So then I kind of I felt that my British English kind of, the R would turn more into the American type of R, like this. So that's how I kind of felt like I got a bit of this American R's and the British tone. I don't know, Norwegian mixture somehow. So especially after that, when that year in Florence, I kept hearing the question if I was from South Africa.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah. I kind of want to listen to some more Norwegian people, but just to kind of get a sense of the cadence of their voice, because you do even in the cadence, the rhythm in which you speak is very South African. It's like I don't know. Okay, I'm not a language expert.
Okay.
I've known a couple of people from South Africa, and last year I had 2 students from South Africa, so I spent a lot of time listening to there's just it's almost like this singingness in their voice when they talk. It's very, very cool.
Very cool. That's interesting. I need to listen more to the South Americans than South Africans than to see what it really if I really am that similar when I'm speaking.
There's an interview I did with an artist named Terry Stevens, and she's from South Africa. So I'll send you the link, and then you can hear it for yourself.
Yeah.
So, did you spend time in the States then at some point?
No, I haven't. I've never been to the States actually.
What? Oh my goodness!
But I really want to go, especially go to New York, and just I hear so much nice about that city.
It's very, very nice right now because there's nobody anywhere.
Exactly.
Now, you went to Florence, you said, right?
Yes, I went to Florence. Well, it's my artistic journey kind of started long before that. But I studied at the Florence Academy of Art.
Okay, very nice.
Which is a school where you learn the traditional methods of the classical traditional method in oil painting and drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the school in New York now, one in Sweden and one in Florence.
Oh, wow.
So I was in Sweden for 3 years, and then I graduated, and then I managed to win this prize, which made me study for another year at the Florence Academy in Florence. And at the same time, I got specialized studies with the founder of the school, Daniel Graves.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I was teaching the first year students.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah. And how long were you there?
I was in Florence for 1 year.
Nice.
And it was a one beautiful city, so much art and really inspiring city to live in.
Now, how long ago was that?
That was from 2014 to 2015.
Okay. And so on your website, I was looking through some of your artwork. Is there artwork on there before you went there, or is it all kind of like more like newer?
No, now I did have. I actually made a website before I started to study with a few of my paintings I did before I even learned anything. And when I look back at this stuff now, I just don't really want anyone to see it. The only place where you can see, well, where it's hanging is at my parents' place. So no, it's all deleted from the internet. The only work you can see is some stuff from when I was a student, and then the years after.
Gotcha.
Trying to find my own style and my own way of painting.
Gotcha.
That suits me and my personality.
Wonderful. When I was looking through your work, I was starting to see almost like two different, not styles, but two different approaches. And and it made me wonder, like, whoa, what happened here? What was the leap? And and so maybe as we talk, we'll discover what that was. But it's interesting. There's some paintings, and then it's just like, boom, it's like this little quantum leap that happened, and I'm like, oh, something broke, or in a good way. I mean, like you had a breakthrough or something, and so I'm kind of curious to figure out what that was. So what are you currently working on then in your studio?
Now I'm actually I can start saying I've been dancing since I was 4 years old.
Okay.
I danced ballet from 4 to 16. Now I don't do ballet anymore. I do belly dancing now.
What? Even cooler.
It's I'm doing it on. I need a hobby because I do art full time. I live just from doing art, and I need a hobby next to it. So that's why I decided a couple of years ago to start belly dancing, and it's really good to get back into dancing again. Okay, so back to what I'm working on. I'm actually working on ballerina paintings for the moment. Big ballerina paintings for exhibitions around Oslo and around Norway.
And do you I was taking a look at some of them. Do you use models, or do they come out of your imagination, or are you taking photos of yourself? Like like how do you do that?
It's a mixture of a lot of things. if you go back to your question, you just looked at my website and you saw there was a big difference between my works from before and now, how I'm painting now. Mm-hmm. One of them is trying as much as possible just to paint from my memory. Mm-hmm. I just find it a lot more easier to kind of get my own emotions into the painting when it's coming completely from my own mind. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, sometimes I need to use some photographs as well that I have from when I danced ballet myself. I go to the opera to look at the Swan Lake. Mm-hmm. Lots of other ballet performances. I know some ballerinas. They are modeling for me in different positions. Now it's kind of a mixture. And if I would use a model or parts of a photo, I would manipulate it a lot. So you wouldn't even see that, it's the same model I would use for many of the paintings, because I just manipulate it so much, make her bigger, make her thinner, longer, smaller, dark hair, short hair, blonde hair,
And then, like, what is it? Like, why are you doing that? Like, what inspired you to do the ballerinas?
I guess I was just never able to kind of let go with my ballerina childhood. And I think it's so they are so elegant, with all the movements, and that's another thing when from the change as well. You can see from how I painted before when I was a student, very dark paintings and very traditional, and now trying to find my own way of painting with more colors, more strong colors, and brighter. And I really like to also use it's such a big world, just with all the ballerina dresses and the costumes that they wear. Is so much you can do, with them. You could put flowers on them, and all the movements, and as well emotions. So I'm trying with my paintings to get as much emotions as possible. With one ballerina kind of being in the middle of attention, with her emotion, like lonely emotion of one ballerina.
Oh wow! Did you when you were doing ballet? Did you feel lonely doing it, or?
No, it's not about that. It's no, not really. It's something that I think it's important for myself and for everyone to kind of feel comfortable with your own emotions. And that's what I see a lot. It's like one experience I have when I had exhibitions and just like trying to find my own style. Then the paintings with most emotions, that's what people like. And I even got people even told me, oh, I really want to buy that painting. I sometimes I just feel like that. And how did you paint like this? And then they buy it because it's like not therapy is like a strong word, but they find it really nice to have a painting they can put on the wall, and they can connect to it, and they can kind of think about their own emotions as well.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now, do you do a lot of drawing before you get into painting, or like what's your process like that?
I do some sketching beforehand, just to get the composition. I think, of course, composition is very important to get right. I'm trying not to get this like typical traditional. I'm breaking a lot of rules when I'm making my compositions. like how we learned it at the Florence Academy had to be, this distance from that, and you need to have the negative shape and all of this. And it was really helpful to learn it. Of course, I know all that stuff, but I kind of want to find my own type of composition. That's breaking all these traditional, not all of them, but some of the traditional rules. Like, for example, to have one leg just like getting out of the picture, or one arm just like going out of the picture. Yes, I like to go when I'm doing my sketching. I actually prefer to go out to cafes and sit there and have a coffee, and also look at people and observing people when they pass by, or sitting next to someone and see, the emotion of some people around me. It's really inspiring to sit at a cafe and do some sketching.
Yeah, sounds very French of you.
Yeah. I just, for me to stay in my studio all the time is just, it's not, it's not good for me. I like to be surrounded by people as well when I'm doing my art.
That's beautiful.
So yes.
Is there a big cafe culture in Norway?
Well, it's when I compare it to like Paris or Italy, I think it's a lot more cafe culture there.
Okay.
In Italy, you have the siesta, the middle of the day, and everyone is going out and they really enjoy their lunch, and they take their time to have their lunch. And it's the same in France as well. But in Norway, of course, you see people sitting in cafe and having a coffee, but maybe it wouldn't last that long. I think they. In some other European countries, like maybe Spain. I haven't been to Spain, but Spain and Italy and France, they are much more. They try to kind of enjoy the cafes.
That's a little bit of a slower life.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter if I think people are rushing a little bit more here. They don't have time. They don't have a lot of time. If they have a coffee, it's like a takeaway and you walk with it. It's the same in London as well. Or, you wouldn't see that much you would see it, of course, in Paris, but people sit much more down and enjoy it instead of take away and walking with it in the tube or in the metro, in the underground with a coffee. You don't see that.
It's strange. It's like, it's an interesting thing, because when you think of like romantic countries, right? There's like, oh yeah, there's a big cafe culture where you kind of just go sit outside and just be, and then but then when you think, at least for me, when I think of something like London, sorry all English folk out there, but your country is not romantic to me.
It's not romantic.
Yeah, it's like, okay. But and so you kind of think of like, I don't know, like tea, and maybe beer of some sort,
Oh, tea it's super romantic, especially if you have milk in it. That's like the British way.
Well, yeah, that's really nice. And so yeah, like, yeah, okay. You need to get out of your studio to find a little cafe, sketch. Got it. All right. Now, like when you're back in your studio, then, like what sizes are you working on, like with these paintings of the ballerinas?
Well, it's I prefer to work a big size, like 1.5 meter, 2 meters,
Okay.
1 times 1 or 80 times 90 centimeters. Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
I prefer.
Okay. So now I'm in the United States, so we don't use meters.
Oh yes,
Uh,
well I don't know the
so
feet, no, the inches.
I believe you're basically saying like 1 meter. I think is like around 3 feet for us. I believe.
Yeah, I would say that
So,
3 feet.
yeah.
Yes.
So if you're saying 1 to 2 meters, those are big paintings.
Yeah,
They're not
it's
little. They're like as tall as you probably.
well,
Well, you're
yeah, maybe
Norwegian, so you could be.
some of them maybe, but I think Norwegians we are tall. I'm tall, so.
Yeah, so it's not,
so
I could probably fit in one then. Okay. Uh, I never was concerned about my height. I remember when I was in college, I went to this place where these Mexican guys would it was like a dance club, right? A Latin dance club, and I walked in and I was like, "Whoa, I'm so tall," right? Um,
mm,
but I never really was concerned about my height. Never really thought about it. I just thought I was an average sized guy.
mm.
And then I went to Europe, and I felt like a midget. And everyone told me, like talk to a girl over there and say, "Yeah, you're too short." I'm like, "What?" like, never in my life have I heard this before. Like literally, like. And then it was just like, I just felt like this very, very short person over there. It was pretty insane.
Mm.
You guys are pretty tall over there.
Yeah. The tallest one is actually the place where I actually feel kind of almost short is in the Netherlands.
Hmm,
They are very tall, that's the tallest Europeans in
really?
Netherlands. Mm.
Wow, very
They
cool.
like to, yeah.
Interesting.
Mm.
So how did you discover this love for art that you have?
Oh la la, that's
Oh, wait, what did you just say?
like a French expression. Oh la la.
Oh la la, okay.
Yes, I don't. Well, you talking to that's what a lot of people say to me here. From they don't really. I'm not. I don't feel like a because I lived abroad for so long, so I don't really feel like a typical Norwegian.
Mm,
Expressions like "oh la la" is something I got from France.
nice,
When
nice.
I was there. So yes, okay. So how did I start my art? Well, I've always been happy to draw and to paint
Mm-hmm.
since I was little. But I think actually after my when I went to high school,
Mm-hmm.
I studied mathematics and chemistry and biology and physics and something completely opposite from art. And I knew all the time that I had this artist inside me. I really wanted to do. But again, you heard all the time from people and from society that artists wouldn't be able to. Well, it's difficult to live to be an artist, and you should do study something that's makes your future safe. Your future safe.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually planned on studying mathematics after high school,
Mm-hmm.
but then it just didn't feel right at all. So I went there the first day of school at the university, and I just I can't do this. I have to pursue my art instead, because this is something I remember when I was in school, in primary school. We had this. We used to have all these competitions about
Mm-hmm.
drawings. We had to draw different houses and competitions, and I used to win a lot of these competitions in my school, in my class.
Nice.
And one time I remember, that's something I never will forget. I think it's the first time I kind of got this feeling that, wow, this is something I really love to do, is when in school we had to paint our classmates, like couples 2 and 2. And I painted my best friend at that time. And I remember the teacher was very pleased with my painting, as I managed to make the nose look three-dimensional. And it actually ended up hanging at the headmaster's office the rest of my time.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yes. And that's when I realized I really loved painting portraits. And I used to paint my my family a lot, my sisters and my mother, my father.
Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of your confidence, how did that winning those awards affect you in that way? And I'm assuming it made, like, did it make you more confident, or did it make you more like just aware, or just more aware of your skills, or
kind of a mixture of the two of them. It's difficult to say. Really, it's such a long time ago. But it really opened. I think it really opened my mind. Well, my artist mind. Like maybe this is. I kind of had two voices inside me. It's like, okay, this is something that I want to do. I would love to do with my life, and I was looking at paintings of other artists, and I was like, wow, they do, it's so beautiful. And like Odd Nerdrum, for example. You know, or have you heard of Odd Nerdrum?
Yep. I mean, it's a big cloak.
Sorry?
Yeah, that very, very long, like smock dress type of thing that he wears when he paints.
No, so I remember when I was young, I was looking at his paintings, and I was, oh, it's so beautiful. I would imagine if I could learn some skills and become really good. But then again, I had this. Why would I want to do that? Because it's going to be difficult to do that the rest of my life. I would probably need to have another job, and if I were to do it, I would like to do it full time. So it was a mixture of lots of thoughts, actually.
So then, like, now, are you doing that full time then, or do you do
yes,
something
I'm doing
else?
it full time. Yeah, I do it full time. So I kind of I decided on, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I don't have any plan B. This is only, it just had to work.
Just committed.
Yeah, just really, 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 really committed. And then again, of course, by winning as well at the Florence Academy in Sweden, I won some prizes of the best painting of the year, best portrait of the year, best figure of the year. And as well, when this started when I was really young as well, winning different competitions, and got to hang in the headmaster's office, and and as well when I was in London, I actually moved to Paris in 2006, and I got really inspired just by walking around in the artist area of the town, Montmartre, looking at these portraits of other artists. That was really inspiring as well. I was, oh yeah, I could. That's a good thing. I could start doing that. Maybe sit on the street and make portraits of people. And I was like, no, I could. So I had a lot of ideas running through my head.
So do you primarily sell work? Like, do you create what you want and then sell it, or do you do a lot of commissioned work? Like,
I do both. I do a lot of commissions as well, like for example, portrait commissions.
Mm-hmm.
I started with that already in 2007 when I moved to London. I used to work like a nanny, looking after kids. And I showed them some of my paintings. And they said, "Oh wow, could you do portraits of my children?" I said, "Yeah, sure, I could do that." And then their friends, they saw the portraits, and then I got their children again. They wanted me to paint their children again. So then we kind of had this domino effect. But this was all before I started learning. And now, these days, I do commissions as well in Norway, portraits in particular, but it could be anything. I painted a lot of flowers, for example. I painted ballerina slippers, like commissions, and shoe commissions, vintage baby shoe commissions. It's like all kinds of commissions I painted. So it can be inspiring as well to paint something that I would never think of myself. It could inspire me, my own work as well.
Do you ever plan on painting? Because right now you're doing the ballerinas. Do you plan on painting belly dancers at some time?
I have it in the back of my mind, yes. But then every time I sit down, I have a blank canvas and I think, okay, now I'm going to start to do belly dancing painting. And I kind of start, and then it just ends up being a ballerina with a tutu skirt instead. So I don't think that time is there just yet. But I'm always changing. After I graduated from the Florence Academy, I had different themes of the type of paintings. But I've been in this ballerina zone for quite a while now. So, and I still love it. I painted all day today, and I can't wait to get up tomorrow and continue doing my painting. And it's just, I'm really in the flow, in the ballerina flow at this moment. So it's a good feeling.
It's beautiful. Now, how would you explain the difference between how you feel doing ballet versus belly dancing? And I know I'm talking a little bit more about that. There's a reason why I'm going there. It does relate to the art, I promise. But I want to hear like how you articulate those two different sides, like those two different experiences.
Well, it's I feel with a lot of people think and I actually thought so myself as well, that belly dancing would be a lot looser and not really that much focused on getting every single movement correct. But it's actually very it's very difficult. All the movements, it's very small, tiny movements that has to be perfect, and it's never kind of you can always become better. And it's the same with ballet as well. It's just a different way of dancing. But how I feel, I still like to dance ballet and belly dancing. When I lived in, I finished when I was 16 with ballet. But when I lived in Florence, I did Italian ballet classes for like a couple of months or something. And it was really nice to get back into it. But it didn't feel like it was something that I wanted to continue doing so much as I did before. I really love the music and the calm music, and it's kind of meditative with the music after a stressful day. And all the movements is really calm. All the movements is really you stretch yourself, you stretch your body all the time, and you kind of feel lighter some way. All the jumping around, and you feel like a bird flying around. But with belly dancing, it's a lot more. You use the floor a lot more grounded. You feel your feet, how you feel more kind of you're connected to the ground with your feet. So you get all the movements from your feet. But I feel with ballet, you more like up, you think up all the time, jumping up and flying up, and that's what I really like about the belly dancing, is that you're much more connected to the ground to be able to make all the movements.
That's beautiful.
And the music as well. I just love the Oriental kind of music. It's about all the drums, and yes, I'm actually listening a lot to that when I'm painting. I'm painting ballerinas with the belly dancing music.
That's cool. That's very, very cool. It's like when as artists, when we're trying to find our voice and even our style, sometimes it's not a bad idea to find two different passions that we have, two different energies, if you will, and lean into those. And so I really like that idea of ballerina or ballet being this very airy, very light, up in the air kind of experience, and then having that grounded, earthiness of the belly dancing, but equally being hard, equally both being about controlling these little details, right? Mastering one's body. And I'm kind of curious, like, if you see both of those types of personality, in a weird way, it's kind of like the ballerina is you being an artist, and the belly dancer is you being a mathematician, right? It's gonna, and yet getting them to dance together on your canvas or in your studio or in your heart or your mind is a challenge worth living for. Yeah.
Well, it's. I think. Well, I actually haven't thought about that. How the belly dancing could, the music, and how that could affect my paintings. But I think one of my kind of the strongest what I aim to make people see and focus on in my paintings is my brush strokes.
Yep. That's actually what I wrote down here. I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, I just the feeling of having the mixture on my palette and putting it on a brush and just like stroking it onto the canvas, that feeling is so amazing. It's like Italian ice cream, gelato.
Gelato.
Gelato. I could almost eat my canvas. No, I'm kidding.
I've seen paintings where I'm just like, literally, I want to lick it. Like, it just looks so like buttery and creamy, and you're just like, ugh.
No, so it gives me so much joy to use those brush strokes and to get them correct, and all the shapes, and play with all the colors, and it gives me so much joy. So if I were to sit down and do the exact same thing on a computer, digital painting, I would, all my happiness would just like disappear straight away.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because when I'm looking at some of your paintings, I wanted to ask you if you did them on the computer or not. And because what I saw was the brush strokes reminded me of really great digital artists who are able to make it look like a hand done painting.
Mm.
And so I'm looking at your brush strokes and I'm like, this is very interesting. It's almost as if this is the analogy that I see when I see your paintings. If you took a big armful of rose petals, right?
Mm.
And you threw them in the air.
Mm.
Your painting, your brushstrokes would consist of those rose petals suspended in air. They wouldn't. They like it's weird. It's like they don't feel like they're like locked into the canvas, but there's this. They almost look like they float above the canvas, and and it's. I'm not sure I've ever seen that in another painting before.
Mm.
And that's just my impression, that the way I'm articulating what I was experiencing when I was looking at your work, and and I wrote it down. I was like, I want to talk to you about your brushstrokes. Like what was the journey of that? Like, how did you find that was something that you wanted to spend time with and really appreciate about yourself, the brushwork itself?
It started okay. So when I started when I started the Florence Academy, this was you kind of when you start the school day, you come with an empty toolbox, and they give you all these tools on how to draw and how to paint. And okay, with tools I mean all these technical aspects of drawing and painting.
Gotcha.
Yes. So I went there and I learned all these tools. I learned about line quality. I learned about how to use your shapes, how to catch the lights, the color, all the colors, how the color, the skin tones, everything about drawing and painting. So, and then you graduate and you're searching for your own style. And then I found myself picking the tools that I enjoyed most doing. And then, of course, the brushstrokes was number one on the list. And as well, I got really inspired by, do you know Anders Zorn, the Swedish artist? He was a Swedish artist in the 1900s.
Give me a second. Let me look on.
Anders Zorn. Anders, Z-O-R-N.
S-O-R-N?
But just write Z-O-R-N.
Oh, Z. Meaning, okay, Z. Son of Zorn. That's not him. What's the first name?
Anders. And A-N-D-E. R-S. Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, the Zorn palette. Yes.
Yeah, and then if you look at his paintings, his portraits are just amazing, and you can see his brush strokes as well. He has really, really inspired me.
Wow.
And I learned from him at the Florence Academy. They spoke a lot about him, and yes, he was definitely inspiring for me. He's so dramatic. You kind of, when you use in nature, you see, if you focus on everything, it's too much. It's too much detail. So you need to kind of pick up the you need to see it, to paint the details with as little work as possible.
Yeah.
And then you have to squint, and then you have to paint it how you see it when you're squinting, and then it becomes this big blocks of shapes instead of going with a little little paintbrush and painting all the tiny little details. So yes, and then again, he's really catching the lights in a good way. Trying to have the main focus on the light and the biggest brush strokes and most paints in the light as well, instead of the shadow, in order to get a good light effect.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just clicking through a bunch of his work here. Incredible.
And it's the same. And have you heard about John Singer Sargent as well?
Yeah, I was looking at Zorn and I'm like, yeah, it kind of reminds me of a Sargent, especially in some of the poses and
Yes.
the way he does fabric.
No, these two have been. I've been studying them a lot to see how they're painting.
Nice. That's very, very cool. So yeah, I can see that influence in you. Absolutely. Oh, hold on 1 second. I gotta check out this painting. Oh, that's kind of creepy cool. Wasn't one of yours. But I'm gonna go back to your website here. And so what like outside of the ballet paintings, what kind of work do you like to do? I see that you do portraits. You got your still lives and your mini still lives and things like that. And your drawings.
Okay, so okay, right now I'm working with the ballerinas and emotional ballerinas. And of course, sometimes it can be tiring just to work on these big paintings. So then sometimes it's nice just to make a little still life of an onion or an apple or a teacup. That's something. That's another thing that I do. I paint teacups hanging on the walls.
That's cool.
There's something. I painted one, and then I just sold it straight away, and I painted another one, and I sold that one straight away. So it's kind of like my milk and bread.
Yeah.
Well, the teacups, they always sell. So like, if I have an exhibition, I just have a teacup then, and now it's going to sell.
Nice.
So it's and I really enjoy painting, just focusing on something small, like a teacup or some shoes. To kind of, it's like meditation for me, to focus and just relax with something small.
And it takes your mind off of the big painting, and then you can go back later and.
And portraits as well, of course. I love painting portraits, and I really enjoy doing portrait commissions as well.
What's your favorite part of that process of doing a portrait painting or commission?
For me, it would be to you really. I need to spend. Sometimes I need to spend some time in. I prefer to take the pictures because sometimes I work from life and other times I work with pictures. When I work from life, I get to know the person a lot more. We sit down and we talk, and we talk about really interesting subjects sometimes. And again, not always they have time to sit down. For me, it's sitting. So then I would go to them and take a picture. And I just, ask a little bit about if I don't know them, I just try to get to know them a little bit more, so I can get the personality into the painting as well. So I really enjoy that in the portrait commission process.
And obviously, your favorite part is cashing the check. Obviously,
my favorite part is
cashing the check, making sure the check goes into the bank.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part.
But it is of course that's good fun as well. But sometimes I could get portrait commissions with some clients, and they have some really interesting ideas on of what kind of portrait they want to have, with backgrounds and what type of clothing they want to wear, and some animals flying around and some dogs. And I'm just like writing it down and trying to make it what they told me. And that's a lot of fun as well, and it's really inspiring for my own work. I'm learning a lot from it. So
So if you're in your studio and somebody walks in, a young artist comes in and starts looking around, and then they come and they ask you for advice, what's some advice that you would give a young artist?
I would say, okay, if you want to be a good artist, I think it's important to go to an academy to learn the skills, to get the tools that I talked about earlier. You don't, at this academy, I don't think you learn to become an artist. You're learning some skills that you can use to make your own art. So I think these skills are fundamental in order to make good art. And then when you finish, then you choose the tools that suit you best, your personality, and what kind of mood you want to have in your painting. Yes, and I think that's one thing. As well, I think in order to make good art, I think you need to stay tuned to your emotions. I think that's important as well. So if you are in tune with your emotions, if you're happy or sad or angry, then you kind of become a more grounded and solid person. All emotions are good emotions, and being able to show them in a painting is good. And then other people can feel a connection to the paintings as well, like I spoke about earlier. In that way, I feel that real and genuine art is very kind of naked, sensitive, and pure. I think that's important.
You said that when they go to academy, they're going to get tools, but they don't go to become an artist. So what are 3 tools that you would tell this young artist, if they're going to go to the academy, really, really focus on acquiring these 3 tools? What to really build their foundation? What 3 would you tell them to really focus on?
I would definitely say drawing skills. I think drawing is kind of if you know how to draw, you already know how to paint. Drawing, when I say drawing, I mean how you use your line, how you use your lights and your shadows. So anatomy, drawing is really fundamental. I think if you don't know how to draw, you just don't know how to paint. That's one thing. Another thing I would say, light effect.
Okay.
Light effect is important. Try to stay away from a lot of information in the shadows. Like if you look at Rembrandt's paintings, he has this amazing light effect. Some of his self-portraits as well. That's something I would recommend. The last thing would be composition is also important. So I think composition, drawing, and and light effect would be the most important. And then when you kind of, light effect and composition would work hand in hand. So where the light is lightest is part of the composition as well. The light and shadow is part of the composition. The value, you kind of put the values in a nice way. That balances out the composition. So I say that.
And then, like, okay, so now this person has these three. They go to academy, they grab these three tools: composition, lighting effect, and drawing. And now they come back to you and they're saying, okay, Ms. Ingrid, I want to become a great artist. I have these incredible skill sets. What are two other things I need to acquire with these three skill sets that would really begin to unlock being an artist?
Well, emotions, definitely.
Okay. So
I think emotions, okay, so you can have a lot of skills. You can have all these skills without any emotions at all. Then that would be for me, this is my opinion. It would be too technical. So emotions would be, let it come from inside you. Let the way how you're painting with your brush, just let it. You shouldn't just paint from your shoulder to your fingers. It should start inside you and go through your whole body, and just dance together with your painting, with your canvas. I think.
I love that. I like to dance with my canvas as well.
Or like what Bob Ross is saying, make love to your canvas.
Well, it's funny you said if you only have the skills, then it becomes too what was the word you used? Mathematical, right? And I think it was Picasso who said, when you make love to a woman, you don't start by measuring her.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's exactly it. That's what I want to say.
Good. And so emotion.
No, but he said the whole, everything I explained, he just said in one sentence. That's a really good sentence. Yeah.
And so emotion is key. And what would be one other thing that you would encourage them to add to this little fivefold
Okay,
plan?
I would say I feel that okay, so I'm also teaching. I'm teaching people in different art clubs, painting clubs, how to draw and to paint in Oslo, and some different clubs around Oslo, and also in south of France. And I think you will. Well, I know for sure that you would learn and you would improve so much just from teaching others how to paint and to draw, because then you kind of I just remember when I was a student, I was an intuitive painter. I didn't really understand everything I was doing. I just kind of did it without much thought into it. Why I did what I was doing, I had no idea why. I just did it. And that's something I found a bit difficult when I certainly I had to teach when I lived in Florence, teaching at the Florence Academy there for that year. And I was going to work the first day, and I was just thinking, okay, what am I actually doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. And then you just stand in front and you talk to. And then you have to think, you have to dig into yourself and figure out what you actually are doing, because there is a student there listening to you. So you have to focus on understanding what you're doing and put words to it. And then I learned a lot from it. Learned from myself and by putting words on what I actually was doing. Yeah, and I'm okay. So I've been teaching now for 5 years, and I'm still learning. It's a journey. So I think teaching definitely is another point that's important for an artist to become a good artist.
It's beautiful. So then, if you were going to become a student, what's something that you would like to learn a little bit more on?
If I were to become a student, I think okay. So
and I mean you personally, like what's something that you would like to add to your tool chest?
Wood tools, it's difficult to say, but one thing I would say is art. I'm actually considering studying art history for like a year or something to add that.
Oh, really?
Yes, because the Florence Academy didn't really have this. We had art history lectures, but not only art history. I think that would be really helpful for me. Well, make my art stronger if I could kind of place myself in the history of art.
It's funny that you say that because I just happen to have the world's best art history course.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. The world's best. And if you don't believe it, you go through it and then come back and tell me if it's not. And
okay.
So there's going to be...
Well, send it to me.
It's very simple. Academy of Composition, it's free. Go do it. By the end of the month, you'll have analyzed over 100 works of art. And you'll know like your art history. Well, it's interesting because it's not art history in the sense that you have to memorize anyone's names, dates, or any stuff that's going on around the time, but you will understand, you'll analyze 100 works of art. So it's really much more like artwork appreciation and to see what the decisions that artists made to put into their work. And so if you're interested in that, go take my course. It's free. And I
will go and
hands down the best art history class that you'll ever take.
That's interesting.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. That's very, very cool. That's very cool. So, when you're making your artwork, what are some resources that you use? Because there's this idea, agency that I like to kind of promote, just to encourage artists to think of themselves outside, bigger than just themselves in the studio. So like what are some resources or services that you use to help facilitate your making of your
artwork? Okay, so for me, in order to be able to live from doing art, Facebook is really, it's really important for me to make, making exhibition events and inviting people to those, and also posting pictures onto my wall. Facebook is really good for artists. I think, at least for me, it's been good for me. And my website, you should get a website. You should have your business cards. So whenever you're out, you should always have your business card ready. You never know where you meet people, and how you could sit at a cafe and you could start to talk to someone at the other table, and okay, you're doing sketching. Oh, what do you do? And then then you give your card, and then you have another contact. So I think website on a business card is important. And then you got some art stores, of course. It's important as well. You got a couple of good art stores here in Oslo. was really nice to go to.
Nice. Who do you use for your framing? Because on one of your images, you had a frame that was just so gorgeous. And I was like, and I wrote that down. I was like, okay, I gotta ask you about your frames. Like, where do you get your frames from?
Well, I got my frames from all over the place. To be honest.
Okay.
Because
I totally get that. I
so
totally
many.
get that.
I lived so many places, and I've been going to different markets
Mm-hmm.
and picking up different frames from markets around the world. Well, around Europe, not the world, but Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember the one of my best times was there was this frame maker here in Norway that showed me some frames that they don't make anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And no one wants to buy them, some big golden ones. And I was like, okay, yeah, well, I would love to have those for some of my paintings. So some of these frames that you see on my website is someone that they don't really have in store anymore. So that's how I got them. And then as well, I had this time when I lived in Florence that I got just non-finished frames from a friend, just in like wooden ones, and I made them myself with painting them and putting gesso and gold and on top of them. That's something
wow.
a lot of students and teachers they used to do it at the Florence Academy, just making their own frame.
They make their own frame, and then they would do their own gold leafing on it.
Yes.
Wow, that's cool. That's very, very cool.
Mm.
Very nice. Yeah, I noticed on your website you had the picture of you. You're just sitting on that couch with the frames, and I was like, oh, that's fun. So here's a question for you. We asked a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
But now it's time. It's time for the biggest question of them all.
Oh yeah.
And so, what do you like to eat or cook?
Oh la la. Well, I'm a Norwegian, and of course, as Norwegians, we love salmon, of course.
Okay, nice.
So I say if I went to an island and I had to survive with two foods the rest of my life, I would bring salmon and avocado.
Oh, that sounds so good.
And I think the avocado is, it's really inspiring to paint as well. If you cut it, of course, you have this nice stone inside. They color beautiful light green color, which is really nice to paint. And the fish has a lot of omega-3. It's good for my art brain.
Your art brain. Nice.
Omega-3 is you need omega-3 for your brain. So yes, fish is very important for me.
That's awesome. I guess I'm gonna eat fish tonight. I'm all hungry for a piece of salmon. Now, is there a place that you like to go where they make it just right for you, or do you cook it?
Well, there is this Asian food. No, Asian. What's it called? Sushi.
Okay. Oh yeah, sushi.
Just next to where I live, and I really like to go there and have sushi.
Oh really?
With salmon, yes.
Nice. Well, I'm not sure if I've ever had a piece of sushi with salmon on. Well, maybe I have.
You never really?
I actually am thinking. I always thought it was tuna or something, but I guess it isn't. It actually is salmon. Yeah, I guess I have had it.
Yeah, raw salmon. Yeah, it's very nice.
Cool. Huh. There's a Chinese restaurant, like all you can eat, and they have the sushi bar there. And so for a moment, you inspired me. I was like, oh, maybe I can go there. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, coronavirus.
Oh yeah.
So you don't want to go out to eat, and then on top of it, you don't want to go to a Chinese place too.
I'm really happy. Before the coronavirus, I was able to go to a workshop in how to make Thai food.
Really?
Yeah, before they closed, because here in Norway they closed everything down almost.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's
So how do you feel
tragedy.
about it? Do you kind of like the everything closed down thing, or does it kind of creep you out? Or
Well, it's I like it. Well, what I didn't like about it is that I had a lot of exhibitions and workshops going on now, and everything was cancelled. Well, postponed, not cancelled. So it will happen sooner or later after Corona. But at the same time, it's very peaceful now. Everyone is inside. They are with their family. Maybe that's a good thing to be.
Kind of feels like a Christmas in a way, right?
Yeah, you have to be with your family. You have to. Maybe you reconnect with your family, and you find the peace. And then I heard in the news today that a lot of people are ordering board games from
Beautiful.
online, and they're sitting down playing board games with their family. It's so nice to hear, because it's, I think people they play on their computers too much. So yeah, I think it's, of course it's bad, everything with the corona, but I think you should focus on the good things. Get your families together, and for me it's definitely painting. I get the peace and quiet to paint. No one is I don't have to run around and do all my errands and having all these meetings with people. So it's creative times for me now. I have so much to paint, so it's in that way it's good.
I think the world should have a holiday every March now. We shut down for 2 weeks, everything, and just we'll call it a Corona anniversary, and we just go spend time with our families. Like nobody's allowed to work, like very very little, right? And we just plan it, and we say, you know what? Because it really is. I saw this lady post this thing, and she's like, Corona isolation or relaxation, tomato, right? And and I thought that was kind of funny and like kind of nice. It was just like, all right, yeah, you're forcing me to go relax now. Okay, cool. Now.
But it's a good idea what you're saying. Every year for 2 weeks, just relax. But you should be allowed to touch each other and hug and shake hands.
Of course. Trust me, there's going to be a lot of touching and shucking and hugging and all kinds of stuff. In the 9 months, we're all going to know what. There's going to be a baby boom.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be the Corona kids.
Exactly. Generation Corona. I belong to Generation C, C19. And now we have this recording of us laughing about Corona before the end of the world.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Ay.
It is really a tragedy what's happening. But I'm a positive, optimistic person. I can't be sad and negative for too long. It's just,
I'm afraid like it's gonna hit us. No, I'm just joking. Actually, I there's a part of me that says, be careful, because when it becomes real, like when it's your neighbor or someone in your family, then no longer is it going to be something that you laugh about or giggle about or whatever. But on that note, when you put it into perspective, I believe it's only about 4,000 people in the world died. I believe. I could be totally wrong on that, but I think that's about right. So it's like we have things that kill far more people that we live with daily. Like cars. you know.
Mm.
But and so I don't know. It's a very weird thing, and I'm kind of very proud of humans. I think for the most part, it appears that we're taking it very well.
Mm.
I think there's some jerks out there who are buying everything up and then trying to resell it for higher prices and stuff like that.
Oh, the toilet paper.
Yeah, toilet paper, and then it's just like, okay, in 2 weeks you're going to be having all this toilet paper in your house, and But one of the things I really do enjoy is just the humor that's coming out, and people are
Mm.
using humor to cope with this reality, and I don't know, I find that fun, and I appreciate that. I'm actually very happy with the way humans are handling it.
Mm.
Yeah, I
But
don't get
it's
why people
human.
panic,
We
but
need humor. We need you. It's like it's how we survive. We
exactly.
need humor. If we
I don't.
didn't have humor, yeah.
I don't know, but it looks like maybe the word humor and human share the same root. I don't know.
Mm.
I wonder. I want to go look that up, the etymology
Yeah,
of those two
good.
words,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
uh, we have to have, we have to
mm.
have it, and it's
Mm.
good stuff. So I'm glad
But
I'm glad you're laughing about it.
I had all my emotions. I've been really sad. I've been really angry. I just like one day I'm just like laughing all day, and then I'm like, it's just annoying, and then yeah, every day is changing. But today is a day I'm just like, oh, whatever. I'm just like laughing all day. So yesterday was different.
Well, I was going to ask you, like, because you were saying earlier, like, you like to be in your studio and stuff, but you're also the kind of person who needs to go out and be with people.
Mm.
And so this I guess is kind of causing you not to do that, or do you have opportunities to go out and meet with people?
Okay, no. So what I wrote this. Okay, so I do. There is a workshop I do now at this art club, and we have 3 more sessions to go,
Mm-hmm.
and we can't do it anymore because of the coronavirus. So then I told them the last day. I said, okay, if we're not allowed to have this workshop these days, then just send me the pictures. You can get the homework. Send me pictures over by email,
Mm-hmm.
and then I send you a critique
Okay,
by
nice.
email. I told them, and then today I was like, okay, I think for me now it would be best if they gave me the telephone number. So I rather call them and talk to them.
I'm going to give you a better suggestion than that.
Yeah.
You want it?
Mm-hmm.
The program we're using for this phone conversation, it's free. Well, I pay a monthly thing
Oh,
because
really?
it gives me certain things, but you can get a free version of it, and it will give you
Mm.
up to 45 minutes on a call. But
Okay.
you can do a video chat, and you can have multiple people in there, and then they can share their screens bring their artwork up. You can draw on the screen. They can draw on the screen. You can record it, and it becomes a
Mm.
great way. I've been using it for 5 years to teach composition
Oh,
online in 5 continents, right? So like I said, last year I had some students from South Africa and things like that. But so
mm.
go subscribe to it, and then you can just send them the little link, and then you
Mm.
can see each other face to face and actually talk with each other and have a good time, and
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
that's good. It's okay. So as an artist, I'm not really into all this technical stuff, but now maybe I have to. If I can't do any teaching, and I need to get my money, so and all my exhibitions are cancelled. So then I have been thinking. People have been asking me as well. Could you just teach online? And I was like, okay. How would I do that? What should I do? So, but this program, yes, it's a good idea to download that and
Yeah,
teach from there. Mm. But
very,
let's
very.
see. I just hope this is not going to last that long. I think here in Norway, I don't know about the States, how it's going over there, but I think no, I think they're handling it well over here?
I think we're going to have about 1 to 2 weeks of intensity, and then probably about 2 to 4 weeks of kind of just getting restored to normal. And so I would think probably in the next month and a half, we'll probably kind of be like, oh, that was it. And
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is, like, years ago when we had the swine flu or whatever, before we even did anything in the United States, 1,000 people already died before we released any money or started organizing things. And now we're like, swine flu, did that? That was only a couple of years ago, right? And I remember everybody being terrified, oh my gosh. And now, I mean, we don't even have, I don't even know how many people have died in the United States, at least, but I'm not even sure if it's like 100 yet or something. It's like still a very, very low number.
Well, here in Norway is 6 only.
Yeah, I mean, in the state that I live in, 133 cases. Nobody's dead. And I think the town that I live in, finally they reported 1 person. But and so I don't know. It's a very strange thing. I kind of get a little irritated because some people are like, "Oh, we got to cancel this and cancel that," and just like, "Well, why?" So you get a flu. Get some fluids, get some sleep.
No, but I agree with you. I think I kind of, it feels like the whole world is just like, it's just panic. It's just panic. Everything is just panic. They don't think, it's just panic.
Yeah. And so I think that's a great thing, because it's really, I think it's a really great opportunity right now for incredible things to happen. And and really what's happening is just a division of humanity. There are those who are staying very calm and even laughing about it and having a fun in a weird way with this thing. And they're using that to cope, but I also think it shows a sense of leadership. And nobody, I don't think, is like having, making jokes and stuff because they don't think it's serious. I think it's just to counteract this hyper panickingness, right? And so I've actually been kind of, again, like I said earlier, kind of impressed by the way we're handling things. Now there is a big part of empathy that I have for, like, people who, are living paycheck to paycheck, and then they can't work for the next 2 weeks, and it's like, they have no idea how they're even going to feed themselves next week, or or they might have kids with asthma, or so there's these circumstances like that when you look at those things, it breaks your heart, and you're like, oh my God, we got to help those people or whatever. But outside of those needy, like truly needy moments, I think we're okay. But who knows? Maybe in a week from now we'll all be zombies.
It will be fine. Maybe the world is going to be a much better place. That's what I think. I think the world will be, after this, I think the world will be a better place.
I hope that we become a little more humble and realize that no matter how powerful we think we are as humans, something as microscopic as a virus can wipe us out. And and so I look at it as, I'm hoping we just get a little bit of a slap in the face and whoa, a little shock, and start appreciating each other and life and the earth and just life in general. Just appreciate it and stop taking it all for granted. But we'll see. Maybe generation.
It's good. I think it's good to. It's good that we have art in this world.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That's good now.
Indeed. Well, Ms. Ingrid, it was wonderful talking with you. How can people get in contact with you?
Sorry? Oh, yes. It's they could look at my website or I have my email address as well.
Okay. And what's your website?
It's www.ingridthortveit.com. ingridthortveit.com. It's a difficult name to pronounce.
I will definitely put the link in the show notes so that they can click on it and just go straight there.
Yeah, I think that would be the best. And you have my email as well, which is my name, Ingrid Thortveit, at yahoo.no.
N-O for Norway.
NO for Norway.
That's cool. Very, very cool. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful talking with you.
Feel free to click the link and get in touch.
Awesome. In just 30 days, the Core 80 experience teaches you to decode the intentional design underneath great masterpieces. Through video lessons, assignments, and feedback, you learn to recognize the underlining structures like thrust maps, echoes, and gamuts that give master compositions substance and gravitas. Knowing how master artists and illustrators compose their artwork unlocks your ability to give your artwork more meaning and energy. Enroll today and get a 7-day no-hassle money-back guarantee at core80.com.